What's up, y'all? It's your girl Shay Renee, and today we're going to talk about the season finale of Summer House season 6. Well, not the season finale. This is reunion part 2 for season 6. This was a whole woe is me situation for Danielle and Lindsay, in my opinion. But let's just get into it, shall we? All right, y'all. So the finale, the reunion part 2 starts with a continuation of last week where Danielle and Sierra were pretty much talking about that whole situation where Sierra threw wine and apparently the glass as well at Danielle for basically interjecting in the conversation that she was trying to have with Lindsay. And, her sharing her frustrations with Lindsay and how Lindsay tried to play her in that whole situation with Austin, where Lindsay and her ego just got out of control, and it was just a whole shitstorm for no reason. Okay, so anyway, Danielle is like, I'm just upset that you didn't even apologize to me for throwing the glass, and Maya said that you were remorseful, but I don't understand. Hold on, y'all. Your throat get dry doing these reviews. This is my third video, so bear with me. Okay. Moving on. She says that Maya said that Sierra was remorseful for what she did, but she wanted to hear her, she said, you didn't DM me or anything. And here's my thing. She apologized to you on the damn show. Now, granted, Sierra said that she didn't realize she actually threw the glass, which, that's no excuse. But in the moment of anger, she just went ham in the situation. But she apologized for the entire situation when y'all sat down, and she was very remorseful. So the fact that she didn't single out, oh yeah, and the glass, I'm sorry for that too. Girl, shut up. Accept the apology and move the hell on, because you're just being dramatic now. But Sierra is a better woman than me, because I'd have been like, girl, I apologize to you. Like, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and move the hell on. Okay. So moving on. Sierra talked about how she was really hurt over the situation, which ultimately caused her outburst at the Italian dinner. And she brings up how Lindsay was going around telling people that her and Austin slept naked together in the bed. And basically that they hooked up in Montauk. So Lindsay said, no, we never hooked up in Montauk. And then Danielle reveals that Lindsay told Kyle and Carl about sleeping naked with Austin, and she kind of implied that they can't keep a secret. So it seems like Lindsay told them that so that they could go around the house telling people, and she could make Sierra jealous. This whole situation is basically Lindsay's ego being bruised because Austin didn't want her ass. He chose Sierra in the first place, and the only reason he came to the house this summer because he just wanted to see if he could play both of them. It's not because Lindsay was the better catch. He's just an idiot, and he's playing both of them like the two fools that they both are. Okay. Lindsay, the bigger fool, because clearly he showed interest in Sierra and he actually liked her. You are just somebody he been stringing along for apparently 4 or 5 years now. Okay. So Lindsay is just very vain, and she thinks everybody wants her. Girl, knock it the fuck off and make it work with Carl, because you crazy as hell. And hopefully you got rid of all the craziness inside your head and it works out with Carl, because other than that, you might as well get you a cat, sis. Moving on. So anyway, Lindsay then goes on to say, Sierra apologized for what she said about Lindsay. Says she understands where she could have apologized and been different with the whole situation with Sierra, but she feels like Sierra never apologized to her. First of all, Sierra kept trying to have conversations with Lindsay about the whole scenario and how she felt and all of that. So if Lindsay had actually talked to Sierra before then, not to say that it's Lindsay's fault, But I'm pretty sure this whole wine glass and all this shit would have never happened. That's first and foremost. But Lindsay was just too all up in her own asshole that she didn't want to have the conversation, because to have a conversation is to admit that your ass is fucking wrong with how you handle shit. So then she says, well, I feel like you never apologized to me about what you said at the Italian table. Here's my thing. Kudos to Sierra for drumming up some form of an apology, because I wouldn't have never apologized to Lindsay's ass, because what Sierra said at the table was the truth. She basically said, you're very self-absorbed. Nobody really calls you out on your shit, and I'm sick and tired of it. So I'm gonna call your ass out right the fuck now in front of this pasta. Okay? I'm sick of your shit. And I know what you're doing. And I see it. And you're pissing me off. Okay? So Lindsay is just so self-centered and unaware. And because she heard Sierra give some form of an apology, she was satisfied, because she felt like she gained the vanity that she needed. She felt like somebody buckled at the knees to her. And I'm like, girl, Sierra really didn't apologize to your ass. It was a very strategic way of saying, hey, I meant what the fuck I said, but I probably shouldn't have said it at that table in front of a bunch of people. Sorry. That's exactly what she said. Put two and two together and use your damn brain and think outside of your own vanity and foolishness. Moving on. So then they talk about how Lindsay, she says she did a. They asked, did Sierra give Austin all the heat that she was giving Lindsay and Danielle about the whole situation with Austin, which, you know, I was on teams. I'm team Sierra with this whole situation, because I feel like Lindsay is just trifling and she's not a good friend to anybody. Clearly, she tries to play like she's a good friend, and she does all these theatrics and productions on camera to make it seem like she's such a good friend. But she does all this little shady shit that kind of overwrites everything that she's previously shown. And so I feel like in that moment though, Sierra should have done what she should have composed herself. She should have dealt with the situation. And then come to find out, she didn't say nothing to Austin until a month later. She should have given him all the shit and all the smoke that she was giving everybody in the house. And then she fucked him. Why would you fuck him? Let's answer that. What the hell were you thinking? I couldn't even get wet for him. He's a fool. And if you really hated him so much and you was so angry over how he treated you and you feel like he made you look like a fool, there would be no way I would be answering his phone calls. I would not be talking to him, and I wouldn't be having him out here making me look dumb. You thought that you was about to be double dating with him, with Austin and Craig and Paige. That would have all been so cute and all, but it didn't work out that way. Move on. Find you somebody else. Matter of fact, go back and hook up with Luke. I'm sure he's available. Moving on. They discussed the Craig Page and Andrea saga. They discussed Kristen C. I ain't gonna say her name, child, because I don't want nobody coming after me, hooking up with Craig. And then they talk about how Lindsay is basically a fake ass friend, because she tries to do all this shit on camera. So come to find out, allegedly, they're saying that Lindsay held all this information until they were recording to basically tell Paige that Craig, or it was found out that either Craig or Austin was hooking up with Kristen C. Now, Kristen C denied it all. Okay, she denied that she ever hooked up with Craig, but she said, Lindsay basically said that she asked Austin if he was hooking up with Kristen C, and Austin revealed to her that it was actually Craig. So Amanda chimes in and says, yeah, you seem to like to wait, telling Lindsay she likes to wait until they're on camera to discuss stuff. And she could have called Paige before that and let her know what was going on. And she does that stuff to try to make it seem like she's being such a good friend and she really trying to be a sister soldier and help a sister out. No, you weren't. You was trying to create some drama for the show. And it's very clear. And Amanda says Lindsay basically inserts herself into people's relationships to try to bring up something negative, basically so she can say, yeah, nanny boo boo, your relationship really ain't as great as you try to make it seem. So basically Lindsay trifling, like I already assumed. Moving on, in my opinion. So they go over Carl and Lindsay's background. The next scene, go over Carl and Lindsay's background, the whole finger banging situation, their evolution from friendship to relationship, and they talk about where it all came down to the 3 weeks that they were just kind of like hanging and banging after filming. The last day in the house before the wedding. So they kind of came to the conclusion that, you know what, we've been kind of flirting with the idea of us being together. We tried it the first time and it didn't work out, probably because it wasn't the right time for us, but it feels good. And, we like how this is working out. So let's just go ahead and move forward. So Lindsay even talked about how, they started hooking up and the relationship evolved from there. And that she ended up, she realized that the friendship dynamic, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going into something else. So then a viewer asks, I'm so sorry, y'all. It's late. I'm a little tired. Let me get my life. So anyway, a relationship comes about, right? So then Carl's sobriety is something that's very important to him. So Lindsay decided that she was going to be sober right along with him because he was getting close to that year mark and he was starting to struggle. So she said, you know what, in order to help him to make it to that year mark, I'm going to have to be sober with him, which I do commend her for that. I don't really like her ass that much, but from time to time, I'm off and on with Miss Lindsay. But she decided to go ahead and be sober with him to help him meet the mark. And she realized that her relationship with alcohol is going to have to change so that she can be a supportive partner for him. Now, she's not about to not ever drink again at all, but however, she does acknowledge that she does have to have a different relationship with alcohol because of being an important key role in Carl's sobriety. And I get that. You have to do that for your spouse, especially if it's somebody that you really think that you can stick it out with. So then the viewer asks about Danielle's relationship with Carl and, is it awkward them being in a relationship? And she used to date Carl. And then I guess they had these little awkward moments where Danielle was giving him hand jobs, child, at one point previously. And they were hooking up and this, that, and the third. But Danielle said, no, it's not awkward. But I did, in the beginning it was because I realized that our friendship dynamic had to change. But now she's all good. It's all good in the hood and she's okay with it. Okay. So then they talk about other people not liking their pictures, like other people on the cast. And I'm like, well, who the fuck notices all that? But whatever. Y'all post a damn picture. I looked at her page. The whole page is her and Carl. So just pick one and start liking the damn pictures. Who gives a damn? So moving on, then they discuss the being a minority in the Hamptons in the next segment. So then they basically go over the discussion that Sierra and Maya had. Now I have to say this. I was not liking Miss Maya this whole season, but I love how once I think it was when she started talking to Oliver that I started to see her personality, like seeing her one-on-one with him. I like her quirky kind of humor, how she's really sarcastic or whatever, because I'm really a sarcastic ass person too. And I'm starting to soften my little heart to Maya. And I really loved when her and Sierra kind of teamed up to have a very important conversation with the other members of the house, right? You know, even though I think a part of Maya's initial struggle was because she was boring. I mean, I maintain that she was very boring, but maybe it was because she was having a hard time figuring out how to fit in, because a lot of times as a person of color, we look at it as an automatic obstacle with anything that we're doing. We have to constantly be thinking about it because the world has created this type of atmosphere for us where we have to think about it. Unfortunately, as much as people want to say that race is not an issue or we've made so many strides and all this, that, and the third, as soon as you think that you can finally start to get comfortable, then there's some shooting or there's something else to remind you that there are still people that out here that create that keep this narrative going. Okay, they keep these things rolling, and it's hard. It's definitely hard for us, and we have to always be on guard, whenever we have to go into groups or whenever we have to integrate any situation. And it's just really tough having to live your life like that. It's always, you always go into a situation knowing that it's going to be harder for you at all times. And that's a very mentally draining thing to have to deal with day in and day out. So they talk about being a person of color in the Hamptons, beyond that conversation. And, how it was really, everybody seemed to be happy about that conversation and the outcome and how things changed. They talked about how Andrea and Maya's relationship really evolved and how he was so super supportive. And then they discussed a situation where Alex was called Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan. And somebody actually thought that was a compliment. And they were like asking him to do things like he was the help, basically insinuating that he couldn't possibly be one of the housemates in this house, which is absolutely insane. But then I really got irritated with Danielle because she really tried to have a moment and was like, I really, I was a little discouraged because, Sierra didn't mention me as a person of color. Girl, you will never understand what it's like to be a Black woman or a Black person, period. No, I'm not thinking about every shade in the house, because every shade in the house, yes, though everybody has their own obstacles in life. Please believe, Danielle, that everybody, you can, in most situations, you're going to pass as a white woman. Let's be very clear about that. So when I'm sitting, excuse me, if as Black as I am and as much as I have to deal with in life, I'm not thinking about making sure that I think of Danielle as a person, a woman, a person of color. Girl, shut the hell up. Because you really, in my opinion, I feel like Danielle was making it about herself and trying to find a moment. And you are one of those people that really needs to open your mind and be educated about how to handle people around you and not basically display some form of white fragility where you just don't understand what's going on and you just making shit about your damn self. You just choose not to understand how to respond properly in the moment. That was not the right way to respond there. So that just kind of irritated me anyway. But Sierra came back with, she's very smart, by the way. I love how Sierra can articulate, and I love how she put her words in most of these situations. And she brought up, she says, and this is exactly what I was thinking. She says, I specifically, when I'm talking, being a Black woman in the Hamptons, I always have to watch what I say to make sure I don't offend anyone. And it's hard. And that's my thing. I'm experiencing some bullshit right now, but in my moment of dismay and in my moment of trying to get you to understand me, I got to think about you. No. So moving on, they flash back Kyle and Amanda's issues throughout the summer, and they discuss whether or not people felt that they should have gotten married or not. And, various housemates and people on social media basically question whether or not they should have gotten married. And a lot of people, hell, said that they shouldn't have got married. One of them being me. I was like, I would not marry Amanda's lazy ass. And, Kyle also said that his feelings were hurt because some of the housemates had some things to say and some choice words about whether or not they should have gotten married. And he's pointed out Paige in particular because she's really close to Amanda, and he felt like, she had a lot to say, and Amanda really values what she says. And he was just like, it really hurt my feelings. And I love how Kyle didn't make a whole huge moment out of it. He just was like, you know what? It hurt my feelings, and I can't control what other people do. And I was so proud of his reaction at that moment. It wasn't overly extra, and it was very mature. It really showed that he is learning how to handle things more effectively and more efficiently. State your piece and move on. And that's what he did. So then they discuss the stigma around prenups. Okay. Um, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm disgusted that they didn't get the prenup. Everybody sitting on that couch, all the women, they asked, who in this group would get a prenup. And Andy is definitely pro prenup. Okay. And all the women said that they would get a prenup. Now, Sierra, they said, the question was asked, why wouldn't someone get a prenup or whatever? And Sierra stated the obvious. A lot of women don't want to get prenups because they feel like, if you have a prenup, then the man is going to leave you destitute without any money. But here's my thing. I agree with them wholeheartedly. If you have your own shit, then why are you worrying about this man giving you anything? And I feel like Amanda has set up in her mind that she wants to be this trophy wife. And even Andy brought it up saying, yeah, you could have used Google to look up what a prenup is. And even when she was expressing her thought process on a prenup, she was saying it was all about her. She tried to say that she didn't want Kyle making it about him and what she can lose out on. All she's thinking about is her damn self. She's like, yeah, I thought about it. Maybe I should have a prenup because, then I'm going to be responsible for his bills. First of all, do you understand those are your bills now? Yeah, you, the idiot that didn't sign the prenup. Mind you, you don't want to be a part of paying for the business, right? But you want to be a part of profiting off of the business if y'all relationship don't work. How the fuck that work? So did you just close your ears on the for better? You only listened when they said for better. You ain't think about for worse. Because that's the only reason why she was thinking, even remotely closely thinking about getting a prenup, because she want to make sure she can protect her little trust fund that her parents set up for her. Amanda is trash, and that is not changing. I am so over her. And she even admits that she's lazy. I'm like, wow, girl. Woo, child. So then they talk about having kids, which, Lord have mercy, please don't have no offspring. I cannot. Like, it'll probably be the cutest little baby, but who gonna watch it? Amanda gonna pay for a nanny because her lazy ass be probably done left the damn baby on the couch and forgot about it because she's so busy worrying about whatever the fuck ever. I don't see her being nobody's mama because she is not responsible at all. And even with her having a baby, she's talking about yeah, because I don't want to get pregnant right now because Kyle is not going to be able to help. Well, Amanda, what the fuck do you do all day? Besides complain. All I ever see you doing is complaining. So maybe if you had a baby, you would have something to do. So now you want him to run a multi-million-dollar business and take care of a baby. Kyle, don't get her pregnant. I'm telling you right now, your dumb ass didn't get the prenup, which you need to get a damn postnup. Okay, both of y'all need to look that up on Google. Get that shit done. That's what you need to do. Okay, have her little empty head ass read what a postnup is, or have her daddy read it to her, child. Y'all talking about how fine he is. I hope he's smart. Because his daughter is dumb. Tell her daddy to read to her what a postnup is. Have her sign it and get the shit over with. Because this shit right here is just dumb, and I'm over it. Moving on. I can't talk about Amanda no more because, whoo, child, her empty head ass make my brain hurt. Moving on. Don't have no kids right now. That kid don't deserve that. Kyle, get your business together. Please put enough money away to get rid of her ass because it's not gonna work. She's dumb. Moving on. They discussed the tension between Paige, Lindsay, and Carl because, Andy really been harping on Miss Paige, like, her body expression and, how she's been being kind of cold to Lindsay and Carl or whatever. But all the whole time, Carl been sitting up here defending Lindsay. So why do I give a fuck about them? They both being negative, and all he doing is piggybacking off of everything she's saying, defending her. I'm gonna just sit over here and look at you and mind my business. That's what I'm gonna do. But Carl ends up apologizing, saying, you know what? I am defending Lindsay. I have been doing that, but I don't want you to take it the wrong way. Like, I'm really sorry if it's coming off negative, but I don't want any overwhelming tension between us or whatever. So she accepts his apology and they move on. So that's the end of the reunion. They all have one of Maya's cookies, which I'm like, damn, y'all act like these cookies are so good. You know how somebody say some shit is so good, and then when you get it, you be like, this shit wasn't even that good. It makes me want to buy her cookies so I can see if it really tastes as good as they saying it tastes. Which, I hope her cookies are that amazing because I want her to be very successful with her cookie business. I always want to see everybody do well, and I'm always rooting for everybody black anyway, in the words of my sis Issa Rae. Okay, so anyway, thank you guys for watching. This has been it has really been fun reviewing Summer House. It's interesting to me that I have not found anybody else on YouTube that has been reviewing this show, which is absolutely insane because this is a very good show. But nevertheless, you're always welcome to come back to my channel to see what I have to say about the whole situation. Anyway, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and send this video to other people that watch the show, apparently, since I'm the only one reviewing it. And I will see you in the next video. Peace out.